welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, Gugulethu Mfuphi is a true inspiration to women and girls all over the country. She is a world-class orator, and she's got a passion for finance, socioeconomic, politics, issues. So there's so much. I mean, you just stay so busy. Now, 2019 saw her becoming one of the phenomenal South Africans recognised for their career achievements in the 200 Mail and Guardian list of honorees. So do you have any questions related to finance, business and investments? Well, head over to our social pages and don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express on your comments. So welcome to the show.
It's fantastic to be here. The energy is completely amazing.
Yeah, the studio is amazing and everybody around here is just so lovely. But this is all about you now. Welcome to the show. We're very, very happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up being this incredible influence, I suppose, on radio and on TV, making finance fun?
Well, that's the attempt, right? Well, like many other South African girls, I actually grew up with my biggest ambition wanting to be a nurse, actually. All because I liked the epaulets and how they looked on one of my aunt's shoulders. But throughout the course of growing up and being exposed to a variety of subjects in high school, I thought I'd be a chartered accountant. So that was the course of studying that I took. And within my career on a university campus, then sidestepped and got introduced to campus radio by a friend of mine, Mami Mohlahlo. And through that, I managed to evolve and change and work for a variety of media industries and really craft this niche, I guess, environment to really try to build up on the foundation that's been set by many other business broadcasters, but really trying to appeal to individuals to make business understandable, business fun, because ultimately everybody loves money.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you watch a lot of these shows, it seems so inaccessible to understand money and finance and economics and business. So how do you think media should be making it a little bit easier to understand?
I think it always goes back down to the basics, Jeannie, because you're quite right. I can also sit up in front of a camera and talk about the JSE All-Share Index is up or it's down and by so many percentage points. But fundamentally, for any South African who has a pension fund, you are actually invested into the JSE. If you understand
and
that.
nobody realises that.
Exactly.
Because it's just they see these numbers going up and down. It's so difficult to understand.
Right. But all these financial services companies who we actually give our money to or perhaps even invest in some of their bank accounts, at some point within the transaction list or value chain, there is some kind of investment that you're actually making into the stock market. And it has been a very viable way of creating wealth for many individuals globally. And I think more and more South Africans have opportunities to actually tap into these markets at an affordable rate and a rate that they understand. And of course, the more we interact and discuss practical terms about how to create wealth, the easier it gets.
Do you think women are becoming a little bit more financially savvy?
Definitely, and I think at the same time we also need to upskill ourselves even more. And more we're seeing this because as women we have more opportunities to create wealth for ourselves given the career paths that we take, whether it's music or medicine like our previous guests or even you and I within the media space. But we often tend to let go of the ranks and the controls when we fall into relationships and you think, there's a man involved, so he'll be able to take care of that.
I'm guilty of that.
But in the cases of death and divorce, right, that's usually when you get struck with reality. So it's interesting to see as well how awakened we are becoming, but of course just remaining cautious on some of the traps or pitfalls that we happen to fall into.
So just for some of our viewers out there, what advice or tips would you give to them to take more financial control, I suppose?
Firstly, you can't solve what you don't know. So actually, as difficult as it might sound, but that B word, budget, have one. Go through your banking statements and actually physically understand what it is you're spending your money on, how much of it you actually want to spend in those particular spaces, and also what it is that you prefer to spend your money on, and that makes it easier to allocate. There's a myriad of products as well available on the market, Jeannie, to encourage people to save, and given that we are in the middle of July being National Savings Month, a tax-free saving account is literally just that. You put your money into some kind of saving or investment option and you won't be taxed on the money that actually gets reduced or deducted from that particular account. And of course, invest. There's an interesting stat from some of the banking fraternities that actually indicate that women are becoming more property owners in South Africa. So believe it or not, right, we've got those title deeds and I think it's an opportunity we need to capitalize on more.
Let me just tell you, you know, usually I get so uncomfortable having like money conversations, But with you, I can listen to you speak about money all day.
Oh,
you
thank
just
you.
do it so well. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Jeannie.
So we've asked you on our social media channels, do you have any questions related to finance, business and investments? So Mumpelo Ndlovu asked, what is your take on 32-day deposits? What is a 32-day deposit?
Well, a 32-day deposit, any of the major banks actually offer this, and it allows you to put your money into a specific account. But here's the catch. You earn interest on this, but it's usually linked to inflation, so maybe about 6%.
Okay.
So if you put in 100 Rand, you'll get 600 Rand on your money.
What?
But that's within 32 days.
That's amazing.
And for you to actually withdraw your money from that kind of account, you need to wait for 32 days. So I think it is an option to use to save. However, you need to make sure that when it comes to the time of withdrawal, you actually have 32 days on your side, literally a month basically, before you actually can withdraw some of that money.
That's like gambling. What are the risks? I mean, can you lose?
Well, not necessarily lose, but I guess the waiting period is what creates the sense of anxiety for a lot of South Africans, because you need to be fairly patient. But great if you want to save up for
Put in 100 Rand,
emerging.
get 600 out.
No, not 600, 6 Rand.
Oh, 6
Or
Rand.
maybe even less, because that might actually be obviously linked to the inflation rate, which changes constantly. And that's why you need to listen to people like you and I who talk about the interest rates
I
and
wouldn't
the MPC.
take my financial advice if I were you. I would listen to this lady. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
It's
Jeannie.
great having you here.